Hi, I am Steven. This is my reflective presentation of my current photographic practice. This presentation examines the motivations and objectives behind my work to date. I was born to a family made up of engineers and businessmen. Photography as a career is something that's unthinkable in my conservative family. I joined a photography club in my school and I met my mentor in photography. Under his mentorship, I grew quickly to excel in the craft of photography and began to win international photography awards at a young age. I went on to complete my bachelor in engineering, followed by masters in business administration. I set up Photo Vivo and Asia Photographers Union, where we organize international photography competitions, exhibitions, photo tours, and courses. I began to switch to digital photography in 1998 using digital camera for the shooting and software for the touch-up. I had two solo exhibitions in year 2003, namely Imagery of the Trusting Heart and The Reflections in the Bamboo Grove. Imagery of the Trusting Heart emphasized on dualism, the opposite of things. I used the model to show the bright against the dark, the real against the unreal, the yin and the yang. Reality and illusions are showcased here. The digital software enabled me to express my idea, what is real compared with illusions. Concurrently, I also worked on another series in 2003, The Reflections in the Bamboo Grove. This series of images was created for the publication of my first book of the same title, a fusion between photography and the ancient Sun Tzu art of war. I used the moon as a time frame, changing from the young crescent moon to the full moon to illustrate the changing of time. Beneath the moon, I featured the different scenes from everyday life. This photograph, titled Chrysalis, shows the ever-changing nature of all things around us. I used the butterfly which is growing bigger to show change. Nothing is permanent. I also practice nude photography in my studio. The real and illusion seen here shows that there are always two sides of things in life. 20 of the better works were selected for this formal presentation, which I used for the submission for the Fellowship of the Royal Photographic Society. At a time in 2003, at age 23, I was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, fellow of RPS. There are two other people who have influenced me in photography, other than my mentor. I have a fascination for Baroque era paintings, and those by Dutch painter Rembrandt inspired me deeply. His use of rich tones and contrast drew the viewer to the subject, and the shadowy areas fill up the edges. This was one of his most popular masterpieces, The Night Watch. The main subject were well lit, while all others were thrown into a shade of darker tones. Rembrandt was known to have experimented with different styles, but his approach used remained consistent, a unique signature of his own. Next is Sebastião Salgado, a legendary photographer whose approach to his subject and the angle used inspired me. The use of hard and soft, light and shadow, space and lines are exhibited in many of his famous works. Frequent use of the wide-angle lens with aperture set to the smallest ensured good quality. Use of smoke and silhouette in such imagery drew the attention of many viewers. Such dramatic angles go beyond straightaway photography. Rather, it involves a lot of thinking process and appreciation of lights and forms. Moving on, I shall talk about my current practice. I have been practicing travel photography for more than 14 years, mainly in Asia, shooting for magazines. Editors who engage me know about my style in travel photography. They know about my tendency to go for rich tones and colors in my photograph. This was an image of the fisherman in the inland lake in Myanmar. Travel photography as a profession brought me to exotic places off the beaten track. The image should tell the story of a place, its people, the culture at that point in time. This was the annual Pushkar Camel Fair. I made use of the warm tones in the morning to provide the rich tone. It is important to have a good local guide. I have my network of local guides in several countries in Asia. They will inform me of any important festivals. This was a local festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where thousands of lanterns were set afloat. The photographs were used for the cover page and the inserts. Over the years, I learned to shoot more and provide more options for the editors to choose from. Silk Wings is the official in-flight magazine of Silk Air Airlines, which flies in Asia. One of my most unforgettable engagements was a contract with MediaCorp Channel News Asia to photograph a documentary story in India. The title is Delhi the Dump. touching upon environmental and social issues pertaining to the pollution and living conditions in Delhi. This was the first time I collaborated and worked alongside a video team, which comprised of the cameraman, lightsman, and a sound crew. This proved to be one of the most challenging assignments of my photography career. Welcome to Delhi, where I did this photo documentary project with the objective to put into record for future generations to know what happened. We were at Wazirpur industrial area in the heat and the unbearable humidity condition. The pungent smell from the waste can be smelled everywhere. Shot from the rooftop, I climbed up a shaky ladder tucked in a maze of live electrical wires. This is Dr. Malaka, tending to a sick patient in a makeshift clinic with many patients waiting outside. Sights of people peeing everywhere is common. I was told to do likewise, as there were no proper toilets in the industrial area. We drove to many areas in Old and New Delhi. Child labor is a frequent sight. Being in such close contact with them for many days, I learned the many real aspects of hardship in life and how we have to pull back our emotions in photojournalism. As what the video man told me, we cannot save everybody. We chanced upon the child labor who worked at the backyard of the food outlet in the Azapur Sabzi Mandi trout depot. He was washing the dishes, but when he saw us, he felt threatened and started to throw things at us. An exploration of the fruits and vegetable market was an eye-opener. I tried my best to record what I saw. Rubbish and waste was everywhere. Children were scavenging for coconuts and vegetables which they can sell elsewhere or bring home for the family. The rubbish dump was one of the highlights of the project. There lived many families who made that place their home and livelihood. They made a living by scavenging for whatever that can be sold, such as metal or aluminium cans, plastic bottles, or metal parts. Dust caked everywhere in the dump. While the animals had their meals, the humans looked for whatever was of value to them. We interviewed several people in the Lajpat Nagar market, and in several instances, we were warned to leave the place by the local authorities who spotted us. The main purpose of this documentary show is to bring about more awareness of the environmental and social issues pertaining to the pollution and living conditions in Delhi, which we hope the problems can be solved for the sake of the future generations. The children are their future. We hope for better conditions to be made available for the children in the future, with clean water, clean food, clean living conditions. We hope that the pollution and environmental conditions can be kept in better control and the people can get better jobs in the future. From 2001 to present, as a lecturer, I share my knowledge in photography with my students in the Digital Media Degree Program in the Singapore University of Social Sciences. I shall move on to talk about the research project. My proposal is on hawker culture in Singapore. Hawker culture in Singapore is an integral part of the Singapore way of life. It reflects the multicultural identity of the society and strengthens social cohesion through community dining and interactions. Before 1960, these makeshift stores by the side of the road were commonly seen in Singapore. They sold food of all kinds and were known as the hawkers. Beginning in the 1960s, hawker centers were built to enable hawkers to work and provide freshly cooked food in a clean and hygienic environment. Today, hawker centers serve as the community dining rooms of Singapore, promoting cultural diversity while bringing people of all ages, ethnicities, gender, and religion together under one roof. There are many delicacies we can find in the hawker centers. This is just one of the many long-time favorites, the char kway teow, known as the fried noodles with cockles. Many hawker centers are refurbished to equip with better exhaust fans and keep the interior better ventilated. One of the biggest challenges for the hawker culture is the modern air-con food court found in the neighborhood shopping complex. However, these are more expensive options for food choice for the people. I plan to feature at least 4 hawkers of 4 races to know them in depth on how they keep the tradition, pass on the baton to the next generation, and keep themselves relevant with changing times and changing tastes. Moving on to the future, hawker culture must evolve with time to keep itself relevant. Many stores are moving towards cashless payments and inventing new food to attract its new and current customers. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy my presentation.